All right, welcome to the next tutorial video where we are now on the tour guide showings tab. And so let's jump right into it. We're on our familiar tour selection screen, and I'm going to get started by clicking on the Empire State Building tour. So the first thing we want to do is basically start adding our tour guide showings. So which tour guide is going to show what tour basically. So when I go ahead, and this will make more sense as I go along here. So I'm going to go ahead and click, let's click add. And so this little modal pops up pre-populated with our tour showings. So in this tab, you'll remember we set up our tour showings. We have our morning Empire State Building tour, morning Empire State Building afternoon tour, and Empire State Building night tour. And so we first configured these very generic showings in this tab a couple tutorials back. And what I said in that tutorial was, don't worry about assigning tour guides here. Just make sure to add any tours that you end up doing, whether it's morning, afternoon, night, some ceremonial tour, etc., etc. You put that here, and now we are finally on the tab where we can assign these showings to the proper tour guide. So let's get right into it. I click add, and we're presented with our tour showings. Let's go ahead and configure the morning tour right now. So I go ahead and click the morning tour. You'll see that I have the Empire State Building morning tour, the tour guide, so it's not assigned yet, and tour info. So I'm going to go ahead and click this edit info, and what you'll see here is basically all of the details of our tour will go in here, and all of the details about the tour guide will go in here, and probably in the future there might be more things to add, but for right now you can kind of get a good glimpse of what kind of data we are looking for to ultimately show the end user, the end client. So I've selected the Empire State Building tour, the morning tour. Now I'm presented with the drop down of our tour guides, the very familiar Bob Green, Jane Doe, and John Doe. I will go ahead and say that, you know what, Bob Green does the morning tour. And this is now where we get to enter in the data for this tour. So where is the tour going to start? So I'll make it pretty easy. The tour will start at the Empire State Building, 20 West 34th Street. Where will the tour end? Very easy. We will also end at the Empire State Building. Of course, if there's a certain start address or end address, you have complete customization and flexibility over setting that. The start time. So let's say that Bob likes to do the morning tour at 8:15 a.m. So we're going to set that there, and let's say that the tour ends at 11:15 a.m. because it's a morning tour. So access type, don't worry too much about this. This won't have really any effect on the tour itself. This is just basically saying, is this a private tour, or is this like a group public tour. So I'm going to keep it as public. The length of tour, I have right now set it for 3 hours, so I'm going to put that there. You can see we're given a couple, more than a couple options at 50 minutes, 30 minutes, all the way up to, we have a full day's worth and up to 3 weeks worth. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 hours. Total number of spots. So how many spots can be reserved on this tour. So if Bob prefers to have a smaller group in the morning, he can go ahead and set it to 5 spots if he'd like. If he wants to have, if he's okay taking care of a larger group, he can set it to 25 spots. So I think the options, the max that are available right now are set to 500. This should hopefully accommodate all types of tours needs. I'm going to go ahead and set this tour to, we'll just keep it easy and keep it, we'll set it to 15 spots. General info. So this is where you can put all kinds of details that you'd like. You have complete control over what kind of information you want to say. You can say anything here, really, that, Bob will have a yellow umbrella. Look for Bob that way. Please show up 30 minutes before the 8:15 a.m. starting time. You can have anything here. You could enter anything here that you'd like, really. So this is just general info about this specific tour, about Bob. Whatever you need can go here. So this is contact email. So this can be Bob's email. This can be either Bob's email or it can be your tour operations contact information if you like. But I think it makes sense to put the tour guide information here. So I'll make up a number here. Bob's number. If Bob has WhatsApp, they can contact him on WhatsApp. If they have Telegram, they can contact him on Telegram. The trip itinerary URL. So you can definitely put the itinerary in the general info here as you wish. That is totally okay. We actually partner with Trip, so it's optional. You can go ahead and do that if you like. And that is basically the setup for this tour. We have the morning tour. Here's the tour guide, start, end address, start time, end time. How long is the tour? Total number of spots in the tour. General info. You can put the itinerary there. Bob's contact information, and let's go ahead and save that. Always remember to save. And just like that, we have saved Bob's morning tour. Now, if Bob also does the night tour, we can go ahead or if Bob decides to do a morning, afternoon, and night tour, because Bob is a champ, you can go ahead and do the same thing and configure it for Bob in the afternoon or Bob in the night. But let's say we want to do a morning tour again, and instead of Bob, we want to configure this for Jane. So I think it makes sense. Why don't I do the morning tour for each tour guide? And very similar setup, and this can be different depending on the tour guide's preferences, to be honest. So we had Bob start at 8:15 a.m., but maybe Jane likes to start at 9:15 a.m. It's all customizable, and she ends, let's say, at 11:45 a.m. And let's do 3 hours again, or we could do 4 hours, err on the side of the safe side. And let's say Jane likes a smaller group of 8 people instead of 15 people. And then any general information can go here as was explained with Bob. And you could enter in the Jane's contact information, her phone number, or if she has WhatsApp, you can enter it here. If she has Telegram, she can enter it here, and a trip itinerary URL if she'd like. And let's save that for Jane. Great. And let's do the same thing. We'll do a morning tour again. So all of our tour guides like to do the morning tour, and let's do this for John Doe. And we'll do Empire State Building again, and that could be a different address. If John likes to meet somewhere else, you can totally do that. John likes to start at where the early birds, 6 a.m., and it'll end at 9 a.m., 3 hours. And he likes to do an even smaller group of 4 people. More general info here. About the tour, about John can go in there. We can do that. We can do that. Done. Save for John Doe. Perfect. So now we've set up morning tours for Bob, Jane, and John. And we can also sort these if we want Bob's morning tour to show first, if we want Jane's morning tour morning tour to show second and John's morning tour to show third, we would leave it like this. But if we wanted John to show first and then Jane and then Bob, we can do that. So we have the flexibility and the option to sort these however we like. So let's just keep it the way it is, Bob, Jane, and John. And, you know, for whatever reason, Bob, let's just say Bob is going to do the morning tour and then Bob is also going to do a night tour. You know, it's the same exact flow. Empire State Building tour, now we have night, and we would assign this again to Bob. Let's just do this one. Bob is an expert in Empire State Buildings. He's been doing this tour for years. And let's say it's a night tour, so let's just say it starts at 6 p.m. and it'll end at 9 p.m. Again, 3 hours, and the night, let's say he wants to accommodate 20 people. Same thing here, any kind of general info, we'll go here. And make sure to fill out, again, all of the same of Bob's contact information. And I get that you might have to repeat it, but you want to make sure that it's all set up properly the first go around, and there will be less repeating going forward. So let me save that. And wonderful. So now you can see we have the Empire State Building tour, the morning tours for Bob, Jane, and John, and now we have the night tour set for Bob as well. And now don't forget, I haven't mentioned it yet, but you'll notice the sub-tab bar again here, which means that we have to configure these tours for each day of the week. So, you know, right now we've specified all of this just for Monday. When we go to Tuesday, let's say, you know, Bob doesn't like giving the morning tour on Tuesday. He prefers to do Monday. So basically, we're starting from scratch here. If all of the tours are the same throughout the week, we can simply go ahead and go through with our normal clone here. You'll see that we have the morning tours for Bob, Jane, and John, and then we have our night tour for Bob. And in fact, if I go ahead and click Edit Info, all of that info got copied over nicely. So we don't have to go, you know, repeat this process because it is laborious. So this is a really nice, handy feature that you can, if Tuesday is the same as Monday, you can clone it over and everything should save properly, which is great. So let's go ahead and do, instead of add, let's clone for each day of the week. We have the same tours, the same schedule. And you know, if on Wednesday, for example, Bob, instead of going out at 8:15, prefers to go out at 9:15, you know, you can completely customize these for each day of the week, depending on what the tour guide prefers, depending on their schedule. So I did save it. So let's go to Thursday. Let's clone Monday, save. Always remember to save as well as you're going. Friday, we will also save. We will also clone for Monday. We will save. And if for whatever reason, clone Friday, then we can, let's just say for Saturday, Bob decides to take the day. Actually, no, we'll keep it simple. But you could have done something like that. Let's just clone, keep it the same, save. And Sunday we'll do the same thing, clone for Monday, and save. Always remember to be saving. And that concludes our tutorial, essentially, of our tour guide showings, where we finally assigned our tours to the appropriate tour guide, and we entered detailed information about the tour and about the tour guide. And this information, these entries, will be what the end user sees. And we'll get to that tutorial much later. But this concludes this tutorial for now.